Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 356 based on novel. So let's start. The old man named Pang gasped, and he was filled with fear. When he felt the chill, he didn't even dare to spread out his divine sense, but he was very familiar with this chill. He could still not forget that it was because they encountered this thing that half the cultivators that came with them the second time disappeared. Before this mysterious presence, they were like mortals and couldn't resist at all. Aside from Wang Lin, due to his location, allowing him to clearly see the situation, no one else could see. Remember not to spread out your divine sense. Master Ashenpine sent out the last divine sense message and no longer sent any more. His body was motionless and even his eyes were closed. In Wang Lin's eyes, a person appeared behind everyone. This person was wearing grey, but the lower half of his body under the clothes was transparent, allowing you to see the flesh and blood. He had no hair and his eyes were lifeless as he slowly walked over. He wasn't very fast, and it took a long time for him to arrive next to the dragon's corpse. He didn't seem to do anything, but the dragon immediately rotted into a pool of blood. What was strange was that this pool of blood entered this person's body. The person in grey still had lifeless eyes as he slowly walked forward. The boy named Duanmu was last among them, and he was motionless, but he frowned. He clearly felt the chill get closer and closer before he saw the person in grey pass by. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes. However, just at this moment, the person in grey stopped and turned his head toward Duanmu. Their gazes met and the boy's mind trembled. His mind went blank and confusion appeared in his eyes. The sun and moon appeared above his head and began to rotate. They turned into a vortex that was like the reincarnation cycle of the sun and moon. This sun and moon reincarnation cycle was the essence of Duanmu. There were a lot of runes that represented his spells. However, at this moment, what made Wang Lin's mind tremble was that the sun and moon reincarnation cycle strangely moved toward the man in grey. It gradually separated from the boy and merged with the man in grey. The confusion in the boy's eyes disappeared and was replaced with death. There wasn't a trace of vitality left in him. Then the man in grey turned around and walked forward. The boy named Duanmu lifted his feet and slowly followed the man in grey, walking at the same pace as him. This strange scene shocked everyone. The old woman in green didn't even blink and remained motionless. Before her, Chen Qianzhen was the same, there weren't any fluctuations to his emotions at all. The man in grey silently walked past everyone, and the boy followed. His hair gradually fell off onto the ground. The body under the clothes gradually turned transparent. It didn't take long for the man in grey to arrive before Wang Lin. Wang Lin remained motionless and was completely focused. The man in grey didn't pause and walked past Wang Lin with the boy following behind. The two of them gradually disappeared into the distance. The surrounding chill slowly dissipated until it was completely gone. Master Ashenpine's body trembled and he let out a deep breath. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead and he wiped it away. The three people behind him also relaxed, and shock filled their eyes. Chen Qianho's mind trembled as he whispered, "He? Who is he?" There was still fear in Master Ashenpine's eyes as he answered in a hoarse voice, "The Lost One." "Master Ashenpine, what the hell is this place?" The old woman in green had an ugly expression as she stared at Master Ashenpine. She was right beside the boy, so she experienced what had happened very clearly. Fellow cultivator Duanmu didn't listen to the advice, alas. The old man named Pang still had lingering fear in his eyes and shook his head. "I don't know what this place is. I call this place the Seven-Colored Realm. That grey-robed man is called the Lost One, that I'm sure of. In the Seven-Colored world, there aren't many Lost Ones. If they appear, as long as you don't spread out your divine sense and don't move, there is no danger. If you move, then you will end up like fellow cultivator Duanmu." Master Ashenpine spade in a serious tone. Wang Lin stood up. He looked at Master Ashenpine and calmly said, "There originally weren't many lost ones here, but after you came, the number increased." The old woman in green sneered but didn't speak. Chen Qianjuan's expression was gloomy as he stared at Master Ashen Pine and slowly said, "Fellow cultivator Ashen Pine, you have already come here twice. Did you leave a few people to become new lost ones each time?" Master Ashen Pine's expression was bleak and he was silent for a long time. Then he nodded and bitterly said, "That grey-robed man just now was a friend that came with me the first time. He was taken away by a lost one." Chen Qianjun let out a cold snort and said, "Coming here was a mistake. I quit." As he spoke, they turned around and went back where they came. He disappeared without a trace. Master Ashen Pine didn't stop. After Chen Qianjun left, he slowly said, "Without me leading the way, he won't be able to go back. I didn't think we would encounter a lost one so soon. Fellow cultivator Lu and Zhao, I know of a cultivation cave between the inner and outer regions of this seven-colored realm. You all know the owner of that cave. It was the head disciple of the heaven-breaking sect from 18,000 years ago, Sima Mo." The old woman in green's expression remained the same, as if she hadn't heard him. Wang Lin silently pondered. He looked at Master Ashen Pine, waiting for the rest. Ignoring how powerful Sima Mo was, he was also good at alchemy. He took the pill recipe that caused a calamity and left. Although I don't know how that pill recipe appeared in the rank 5 region, I'm certain that Sima Mo's cave indeed exists. As for whether he successfully refined that pill, I don't know, but even without it, there must be a lot of treasures there. When he finished speaking, he took out a jade and threw it at Wang Lin. Wang Lin caught it and checked it with his divine sense before passing it to the old woman in green. "I found this jade here before, and that's why I'm so sure," Master Ashen Pine said calmly. However, after seeing that their expressions still hadn't changed and they hadn't agreed to continue exploring, he frowned. "Fellow cultivator Zhao, from now on, I and fellow cultivator Pang will give you all our shares of the fierce beasts we kill. Also, I promise you get to pick 10 things first from that place I told you about before." The old woman in green hesitated and asked, "How confident are you in entering that place?" Master Ashen Pine pondered a bit and said, "If you and fellow cultivator Lu help, I'm 60% confident." "Okay." The old woman in green closed her eyes for a moment and then nodded. Master Ashen Pine looked at Wang Lin and said, "The place I and fellow cultivator Zhao were talking about is in inner part of this 7-colored world. Although it is dangerous, the harvest will be greater. According to the clues I found, there are many souls of rank 8 to 13 beasts sealed here. I have prepared enough herbs so that as long as there is enough time, I can produce a large amount of pills. If fellow cultivator Lu agrees, you can pick 10 first as well." Wang Lin silently pondered. In his mind, there was no way Master Ashen Pine's goal was so simple, and given his cunning, there was no way he would expose his purpose. Master Ashen said, "Fellow cultivator Lu, I can take you to a few safe places with fog beasts and gather all the origin crystals there. Also, I won't take a single thing from Sima Mo's cave. Let's take the origin crystals first." Wang Lin looked at Master Ashen Pine. "Okay." Master Ashen didn't say any more and looked around. He didn't continue down the narrow passage but charged directions. The three of them charged off into the distance. Master Ashen Pine was very familiar with his place. After 1 hour, he arrived at another place filled with fog. This was an abyss shrouded in fog. After entering this place, Master Ashen Pine was very careful and slowly moved forward. When he was 1,000 feet from the fog, he stopped. His right hand reached out and a large amount of celestial jades flew out and circled him. Then he closed his hand and all the celestial jades turned to dust. He took a deep breath and carefully waved that dust toward the fog. Just at this moment, a roar came from the fog and a turtle-like beast peeked out its head. It sucked in the celestial jade dust. Master Ashen Pine took out more celestial jades, which he crushed into dust, and softly said, "Fellow cultivator Pang." The old man named Pang had cooperated with Master Ashen Pine many times, and he skillfully rushed into the fog. The turtle fog beast looked back and hesitated, but at this moment more celestial jade dust flew over. The beast immediately devoured it. When Wang Lin saw this, his eyes shined, but he remained calm. Shortly after, the old man named Pang rushed back out from the fog and returned to everyone's side. Master Ashenpine scattered more celestial jade dust and slowly retreated. It wasn't until he retreated out more than 10,000 feet that he stopped scattering celestial jade dust. How many? Master Ashenpine looked at the old man named Pang. Less than 3,000. The old man named Pang didn't hesitate to hand a bag of holding to Wang Lin. Some rank 12 fog beasts like to devour celestial jades. You can use celestial jades to get some origin crystals. After Master Ashenpine spoke, he led everyone to a number of fog beasts. Using the same method, they confused more fierce beasts and got nearly 20,000 origin crystals in return. Master Ashenpine stopped and returned to that narrow road. On the way back, I'll get more origin crystals for fellow cultivator Lu on a different path. Based on the past, there should be about 60,000 to 70,000 origin crystals in total. Enlighten, prisoner of the Tao of Heaven, all sentient beings must endure immeasurable calamities. It only takes a thought to leave the deep prison. Await the path of cultivation. The information from the jade next to the skeleton echoed in Wang Lin's mind. He looked at the seven-colored world and silently nodded. There was only one line on this jade. Wang Lin pondered for a long time but still didn't fully understand the meaning of it. Just based on the words, there were many interpretations. His gaze swept past Master Ashenpine. Wang Lin knew that Master Ashenpine had been here several times and had explored a lot of caves here. Master Ashenpine must have obtained some rare treasures, cultivation methods, or information here. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so familiar with this place. They continued down the narrow mountain path with Master Ashenpine carefully walking in front. He only had a simple map of the area past this point and hadn't actually gone down this path before. Previously, he took another path, and it was there that he obtained a jade and map containing the information that tempted him. They went down the narrow road for several days. After avoiding various fog beasts, they arrived deep within the mountain range. There was one more mountain before them, and after passing here, they would see what was behind the mountain. The old woman in green was calm and didn't look to the side, as if she was a monk. Wang Lin had looked at her several times, but he wasn't able to see through her thoughts. Wang Lin only knew that this old woman in green was named Zhao and nothing else. However, he noticed along the way that although she was following Master Ashenpine, each of her steps was intricate. There were many restrictions here, but most of them had already collapsed. However, this old woman always stepped on an empty spot or where the restrictions were weak. This was a habit, and it wouldn't change just because the restriction had lost power. It was hard to notice something so subtle unless you were a restriction grandmaster. The old man named Pang followed closely after Master Ashenpine and didn't dare to be too close to Wang Lin. He obviously dreaded Wang Lin a lot. At this moment, there was no road left before them. Master Ashenpine's brows were knit tightly and he pondered. The seven-colored light still covered the sky, making it impossible to tell if it was night or day. Fluctuations of origin energy came from the sky, catching everyone's attention. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked into the distance. He could see that there was fog churning in the sky a few mountains back. The origin energy fluctuations were coming from there. There was also a feeling of a power that could shake the soul. Master Ashenpine looked at the distance and coldly said, "It's Chen Qianjuan's spell." After a long time, the fluctuations dissipated and the fog calmed down. It was as if nothing had happened, and no more fluctuations came. "I fear it is likely that Chen Qianjuan is dead. He didn't listen to our advice and deserved to die. This seven-colored realm is not a place you can casually move in, and the road changes every time. Unless you know this place well, you can't casually enter or leave." The old man named Pang sneered and there was mockery in his eyes. "Well, let's put the matter about Chen Qianjuan aside. Fellow cultivator Zhao, I checked and there seems to be restrictions in the way. As for how to crack them, I need fellow cultivator Zhao to help." Master Ashenpine took a few steps back and clasped his hands at the old woman in green. The old woman in green had already checked the path ahead, and right now she silently nodded. Unfortunately, fellow cultivator Duanmu was taken by the Lost One. If he was still here, he could have used his Tao to temporarily stop the restrictions from changing and help fellow cultivator Zhao. Master Ashenpine shook his head. Most of the restrictions here are ones I've never seen before. I don't have much confidence in breaking them. The old woman in green walked forward as she spoke and arrived at the end of the path. There was no path here, only mountains. If you wanted to pass, you'd have to climb up the mountain, but there was dense fog up the mountain that sealed all path. Touching the mountain rock, the eyes of the old woman in green lit up and she pondered. Wang Lin wasn't fazed and withdrew his gaze from the stone. He sat down and began to cultivate. He was going to keep himself at his peak so he would be ready for anything unexpected that might happen. Time slowly passed. The old woman in green didn't move, but the changes in her eyes became even more drastic. She eventually frowned. Master Ashenpine, are you sure there is a restriction here? Why not just climb over? The old woman in green looked at Master Ashenpine. Master Ashenpine pondered for a moment before saying, there isn't just one fierce beast on top of this mountain. According to what I know, there are 7. They are all rank 12 fierce beasts. We came here from another path before and tried to climb the mountain, but we suffered heavy casualties. In the end, we weren't able to pass. Then I found a map that showed that there was a passage through the mountain, and the entrance is here. The old woman in green pondered a bit before retreating 2 steps. Her hands formed a seal. After images of her hands appeared and they overlapped to form a complex rune. The rune suddenly landed on the mountain's rock. Wang Lin's mind trembled and he pretended to look over casually. The moment the restriction fell on the mountain, the surface of the rock seemed to melt and ripples appeared like when one threw a pebble into a lake. However, what was strange was that the ripples were strings of small incantations. An ancient and decaying aura came out from the mountain stone. The old woman in green retreated a few more steps, then her hands formed more seals and pointed a few times at her chest. 7 strands of gas flew out from her orifices, each strand containing a large amount of vitality, and they surrounded her. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. The old woman unexpectedly sank into the mountain rock with 3 steps. The ripples became even more intense and the rock became transparent. This allowed Master Ashenpine and others to clearly see the massive stone tunnel inside. However, aside from the entrance, it was completely dark inside. Even their gazes were devoured by the darkness. When the old woman in green sank into the stone, her face turned pale and her body began to distort as if she was being squeezed by an unimaginable force. A faint popping sound came from her body. She closed her eyes and cultivated for a moment. Then she opened her eyes and walked forward. Each step made her body tremble more violently, and the amount of ripples around the rock multiplied. The ancient aura became a powerful pressure that surrounded the area. After walking 3 steps, her eyes were bloodshot. Her hands formed a seal and mercilessly pressed down between her eyebrows. The old woman's wrinkly face went through a shocking change. Most of the wrinkles quickly dissipated. Even her body suddenly seemed to rejuvenate, and she turned into a middle-aged woman around 40. Although her appearance wasn't stunning, she had the grace of a beautiful, mature woman. She took 2 more steps, and just as she was about to take the 6th step, she coughed out a mouthful of blood. She could no longer bear it and retreated from the mountain rock. She only stopped retreating when she was next to Wang Lin. Her face immediately changed back to her old self. The old woman bitterly said, 9-step heaven sealing formation. This is an ancient formation. I have seen it in records but never in real life. For someone to place this restriction, their restriction ability is already at the peak. 9-step heaven sealing formation. Wang Lin looked at the mountain rock. After the old woman retreated, it returned to normal and it was impossible to find anything wrong with it. This formation was damaged due to the passage of time, so it has no offensive capabilities, but its sealing power is unaffected. With my cultivation, I can only take 5 steps. Any more and my body can't handle it. Master Ashenpine frowned as he looked at the formation and asked, how do we break this formation? The old woman in green took out some pills and ate them. She began cultivating and said, take the 10th step and you can break it. Master Ashenpine pondered. After a long time, he clenched his teeth and waved his hand. A set of black devil armor appeared around him. Devilish energy filled the area and made Master Ashenpine look like a devil god. I want to see how many steps I can take with my cultivation and this armor. Fellow cultivator Zhao, open it for me. Master Ashenpine had no other choice. He had already come this far, and he wasn't willing to give up. He took 2 steps and charged at the mountain rock. The old woman in green formed a seal and pointed forward. A restriction flew out and landed on the mountain rock before Master Ashenpine. Ripples appeared again and the rock became transparent once more. Master Ashenpine didn't hesitate and directly stepped into the rock. His mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator erupted, and the moment he entered the rock, he took 4 steps. Every step seemed to give off a thunderous boom. Master Ashenpine's face turned pale and the armor gave off dense devilish energy. After 4 steps, he paused for a bit before his eyes lit up and he unexpectedly took 3 more steps. After he took these 3 steps, Master Ashenpine's face was pale and his body was faintly trembling. However, he clenched his teeth and let out a roar as he took another step. This was the 8th step. The moment the 5th step landed, popping sounds came from Master Ashenpine's body and blood came out of the corner of his mouth. His eyes were bloodshot. 1,000 years of preparation and he was stopped by a formation. He was unwilling to yield. Roar? Master Ashenpine clenched his teeth and stepped forward again. At this moment, there was a hint of excitement in the old man named Pang's eyes, and the eyes of the old woman in green lit up. It was impossible to see her thoughts. The moment the 9th step landed, it was as if Master Ashenpine had smashed into a wall. A huge force smashed into his body and he coughed out blood. His body was ejected from the stone and it took several dozen feet for him to stop. If I can't enter, then none of them will be able to leave this 7-colored realm. His face was pale as he stared at the mountain rock. There was a hint of madness and ferociousness in Master Ashenpine's eyes. Wang Lin stood up and patted the dust off his clothes. He looked at the scattered devil armor on Master Ashenpine and calmly said, "Let me try." "You?" Master Ashenpine looked at Wang Lin. As he did so, the madness in his eyes was gradually hid away. He thought, this person's body is indeed strange. Earlier, he was able to stand up against the dragon with his body. Perhaps he can break the formation with the power of his body. Okay, I'll rely on fellow cultivator Lu. Master Ashenpine clasped his hands and his expression returned to normal. The old man named Pang sneered. He thought that if even Master Ashenpine with the devil armor could only take 9 steps, then how many steps could this person named Lu possibly take? Wang Lin looked at the stone. He originally wasn't going to act, but after he saw the madness in Master Ashenpine's eyes, he was moved. Although it was dangerous here, there must have been something important in this place to interest Master Ashenpine so much. If they couldn't enter, Master Ashenpine wouldn't let them leave. Although Wang Lin had already secretly prepared for this and therefore didn't care, he wanted to know what would make Master Ashenpine so crazy. I asked fellow cultivator Zhao to help and open the formation. Wang Lin clasped his hands at the old woman in green. The old woman in green was obviously holding back. She had used the fact that Master Ashenpine was anxious and had made him try it himself, resulting in his injury. We haven't even found the treasure, and these people already began secretly fighting amongst each other to weaken each other's strength. If I want to participate in this mess, I must do the same. Wang Lin's expression was neutral, and no one could see through his thoughts. The old woman in green raised her right hand and waved. A restriction landed on the mountain rock, causing it to become transparent, and ripples appeared. Wang Lin arrived next to the mountain rock in a few steps and walked inside. No one noticed that when he entered the rock, Wang Lin's right hand sent out an invisible restriction as he went inside. Just as he entered the mountain rock, Wang Lin felt pressure from all directions. The pressure was even more intense ahead. He was very slow as he walked forward. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. When the 3rd step fell, Wang Lin clearly felt the pressure reach an unimaginable height, and the pressure ahead was like a violent storm. It was as if countless mountains were pressing down on him, preventing him from moving forward. With every extra step, the pressure would increase. As a result, the more he walked, the more difficult it became. If it was an ordinary cultivator, their body wouldn't be able to withstand the pressure, and they would inevitably collapse. However, Wang Lin had the body of an ancient god, so this was nothing to him. However, at this moment, his face was extremely pale and he stopped at the third step. After a moment, he lifted his feet once more. 4 steps, 5 steps, 6 steps. The moment the 6th step landed, the pressure reached an earth-shattering degree. It was as if countless hands were pressing down and countless spells were up ahead. It made him feel like a lonely boat in the stormy sea. Wang Lin's face was deathly pale and his body trembled slightly. It seemed like he was going to retreat, but at this moment, a force appeared behind him and prevented him from retreating. At this moment, outside the mountain rock, the old woman in green stared at Wang Lin and pondered. There is a change in the formation. Master Ashen Pine frowned as he looked at Wang Lin's body. After carefully looking at Wang Lin for a bit, he began to carefully think about his own 6th step and became silent. The old man named Pang sneered and thought that he had thought too highly of this person before. This person only had cultivation but no cunning. If one were to get injured here, they would be unable to continue. Wang Lin stopped at the 6th step for a long time before he took the 7th step. On the 7th step, he coughed out blood, but he didn't retreat. He then took the 8th step. The moment the 8th step landed, popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body as if his flesh and bones were being squeezed. Large amounts of blood sprayed out, causing his white robe to become blood red. At this moment, Master Ashen Pine was moved, and he walked a few steps closer. His gaze was like lightning as he observed Wang Lin. The old woman in green also stood up, and her expression was serious. As for the old man named Pang, he sneered even more in his heart. Wang Lin's body, which was inside the mountain rock, seemed to become twisted. He lifted his right foot, and there was a faint roar from the mountain rock as he took the 9th step. Wang Lin's body trembled violently and the veins on his face became swollen. His eyes were bloodshot, but he stabilized himself. Master Ashen Pine's mind trembled and he shouted, "Fellow cultivator Lu, only one more step." The old woman in green revealed a complicated expression. She looked for a long time and couldn't see any sign of Wang Lin faking it. It was all very real. The formation unexpectedly changed. Even if he wanted to return, he can't. Fellow cultivator Ashen Pine and Zhao, I have already done my best on this trip. If I'm seriously injured, you all, Wang Lin's weak voice came from inside the rock. Fellow cultivator Lu can rest assured. This old man will not forget his promise. Master Ashen Pine sent out his message. Wang Lin seemed to hesitate inside the mountain rock, but soon he lifted his right foot and took the 10th step. The moment the 10th step landed, the entire mountain roared and shook violently. Large amounts of rocks fell off the mountain and alerted the fog beasts at the top. The 9-step heaven ceiling formation collapsed. Wang Lin coughed out more blood. As the formation collapsed, a powerful force pushed Wang Lin out of the mountain. Master Ashen Pine's eyes lit up and he immediately moved forward. His right hand aimed directly at Wang Lin's back. The moment his right hand touched Wang Lin, his origin energy and divine sense rushed into Wang Lin's body. He cycled once through Wang Lin's body and then quickly withdrew. It was inconvenient for him to kill Wang Lin before the old woman in green. Otherwise, it would put her on extremely high alert and cause unnecessary trouble in the future. His purpose was to test if this person named Lu was really seriously injured. Now that he got his answer, he wasn't going to bother with someone who was already seriously injured and no longer a threat. Just at this moment, the roar of beasts suddenly appeared. A hawk-like beast charged out from the mountain and rushed at everyone. Master Ashen Pine grabbed Wang Lin and directly charged into the tunnel that appeared once the formation collapsed. The old man named Pang and the old woman in green quickly followed into the tunnel. Everyone quickly moved through the tunnel for a long time. Only after they could no longer hear the roars of the beasts did they stop. Master Ashen Pine put Wang Lin down and looked regretful. He clasped his hands. Brother Lu was willing to get seriously injured to open the formation. This old man will remember this. Wang Lin's face was pale and there was still blood on the corner of his lip. He waved his hand and revealed a wry smile. That formation was very strange. After I took 6 steps, there was a force behind me, so I could only move forward. No matter what, fellow cultivator Lu has contributed greatly to us entering here. Master Ashenpine looked very sincere and continued to clasp his hands. Seeing that Wang Lin's face was tired, he immediately took out pills and handed them to Wang Lin. Brother Lu, rest and recover for a bit. Once you recover a bit, we can continue moving forward. Wang Lin pondered a bit and bitterly nodded. He took the pill but didn't consume it. He brought his own pills and swallowed them before closing his eyes to cultivate. The old man named Pang's eyes lit up and revealed a hint of coldness. Just at this moment, Master Ashenpine looked at the old man and shook his head slightly. Time slowly passed. It didn't take long before Wang Lin opened his eyes and stood up. He said in a hoarse voice, "My injuries can't heal in a short period of time. Let's move forward." Master Ashenpine looked at Wang Lin and nodded. The old woman in green sighed in her heart but didn't speak. Everyone walked forward through the tunnel. This place was very quiet, with only the sounds of their footsteps echoing. After an unknown amount of time, light appeared in the distance. Master Ashenpine suppressed the excitement in his heart and quickly walked ahead. The location of the light was the exit of this tunnel. Looking outside, Master Ashenpine began to laugh. There was a large valley outside the tunnel. It was filled with vegetation, and one could easily smell the faint fragrance of the flowers. It was a relaxing scent. After the valley stood a mountain range that was like a city wall. These mountains were very tall and walled off the outside world. After we pass the mountain range, we will enter the inner part of this realm. Simamo's cave is not in the mountain, but in a valley before it. Master Ashenpine laughed as he flew forward at a fast pace. The old woman in green followed and the two of them flew away. Wang Lin's face was pale and the 7-colored light was even more harsh. He took a deep breath and followed. The old man named Pang sneered and remained not far from Wang Lin. It didn't take long for the 4 of them to arrive at a valley under Master Ashenpine's guidance. As soon as they entered the valley, they saw a cave before them. The wall of this cave was covered in grass, making it obvious it hadn't been used for a long time. It wasn't very large and only had 3 rooms. The ground was a mess with pills scattered everywhere. Most of them had fossilized and would crumble if you touched them. Master Ashenpine's mind was obviously not on the cave. He looked at the old woman in green and said, "I won't take anything from here. Everything belongs to fellow cultivators Zhao and Lu." The old woman in green's divine scent spread out and she shook her head. "Fellow cultivator Lu has paid a heavy price, so how could I take anything? Let fellow cultivator Lu take everything." Wang Lin looked around and let out a sigh. "I am unable to continue with the 2 of you. This place is quiet and suitable for healing. Fellow cultivator is seriously injured, so it's better for you to heal for a few days. After fellow cultivator Zhao and I return, we'll naturally hand over what was promised. Then we can leave together." Master Ashenpine smiled. "Many thanks." Wang Lin nodded. "However, although this place is quiet, it is still dangerous as there might be fierce beasts. Fellow cultivator Pang, there is one thing I want to ask of you." Master Ashenpine pondered for a bit before looking at the old man named Pang. "If fellow cultivator Lu recovers here by himself, I will feel worried, so I'd like to ask fellow cultivator Pang to stay here to protect him. Part of what I and fellow cultivator Zhao find will be given to you as payment. How about it?" The old man named Pang's eyes lit up and he said, "As it should be." This video will end here.